Hello guys, welcome back. It's Illogical as always, and we're now on to our hardcore playthrough of Remnant from the Ashes. The key problem that we're going to have here is this is like my 10th attempt, so we're going to go through the setup. So we are, just to give you an idea of what we're working for, I'm just going to talk my way through this and try and get as much information across as possible. Now, whenever it comes to your starting classes, it is hard to tell what is going to be your best bet. Technically, they all work, it's just down to your individual skill level. But what I'm trying to do is use the one that requires the least amount of skill to actually perform on. And the thing is, though, is the fact that there's only really, well, from my point, you've got two options. Your option one is the medic. Option 2 is the summoner. The problem is, though, is the medic starts off with good gear but weak skills, and the summoner starts off with great skills but weak gear. Well, bar one. I'll explain that later. But you can automatically tell that I kind of... I think this is about my 10th attempt. This is my first attempt post DLC. But this is about this, yeah, you get the idea. Post DLC, this is about my 10th attempt. So, our first attempt, pre-DLC, 10 attempts, and all of them failed miserably. Most of them died at the Labyrinth boss, and I've done it mostly in my free time. But I went with a summoner, specifically due to the regrowth skill, as well as you get extra usability from his skills. It's more enemies to, or it's more friendlies to work with, so to speak. So hopefully your summons can keep you alive. Now, I'm making use of the Survivors kit that I got because I bought the Season Pass, I believe it is. It's the one that gives you all 3 DLCs for a cheaper price, basically. And I'm going to make full use of the additional shit that it gives me. I'm sorry, but holy shit, this game can be rough. We got lucky with Chaos because we got the Twisted Idol, which is obviously going to be incredibly good because it reduces encumbrance but also boosts our armor. That will be absolutely fantastic early game to keep us alive, so it will be. So we got lucky with our drops from Chaos. Normally we don't get that lucky, so we're not required to pick up the dull steel ring just yet, so we're not. So that is a luxury that we do have. We are going to focus on trying to get to level 5 on the summoner as soon as possible, so I am going to make use of the Mudtooth elixirs that were given to me at the start of the game, because hitting level 5 before the first grand boss is rather needed. Now, the mistakes that I've made in the past is picking up hot shots, but this time I went for the healing shot instead because it did prove to be very beneficial as we were moving through the game. So it did prove to be very beneficial. You see me pick up the SMG. The reason for this is because the summoner starts with an SMG, we get a +1 SMG at the start of the game. Our tile set that we got was Narud. Now, there is a good thing and a bad thing that comes with this, right? The bad thing is this area can be difficult. That ring forces you into a specific playstyle, so it does. We also got Terminus Station. Yeah, we're going to be rattling through this super quick, so we are. It's the standard idea of each area that we went through, we just picked up the item and the skill point. There were some of the events that we just did not do simply because you're at a high risk of death at that stage. So you're trying not to die, and you're gonna see here that I am immediately piping every single skill point that I get into vigor. So I am every single time. I am not even going to risk the chance of death. So I'm not. So what was it? We got Putrid Domain. And again, we're going to run through and grab everything that we need. There was this event here. Now, obviously, this was a risky play, but there was a specific item that I was particularly after. And that there was the health regen when the shield is active, because we are planning on picking up the medic, the second archetype medic, and dual archetype and summoner medic. So that's my plan, so it is. So this ring here should hopefully come in handy with survivability later on, depending on how everything goes. Back to the first ring that we did get, it came with the DLC, but it changes your playstyle because it has stacks of up to 15, so you can get 15% increased damage, but if you dodge, you lose the stacks. Obviously, you'll immediately figure out why that's a problem. So it is. I think that there's a regenerating band or something. Whenever a shield is active, you get 3% health regen. But yes, long story short, that ring kind of forces us into a stand. Like, we're going to be very limited with our dodges until we can either get strong enough without the ring, or just get stronger in general, I guess. Just increase our survivability through the roof. We did pick up another ring. Unfortunately, it was a dud because you need it purely for the engineer archetype, so it is dope. Unfortunately, it's a dud. On the other hand, we did also pick up another skill point. Guys, you automatically know what I'm going to do with that skill point. It is getting immediately piped into vigor. Health is your most important currency right now, guys. That's not an argument. Future domain, so that means we're up against the abomination. The abomination now. This is the fun part, right? The abomination. It displayed that there is. This is whenever I sort of realized that, yeah, we're in for it, because at the start of the game our damage just ain't there, and our survivability just ain't there. Like, some of these bosses require a solid amount of either damn good luck or incredible skill to pull off. And the problem is, the abomination is possibly one of the most difficult bosses on the road. I do believe it has been nerfed, and its attacks have been changed slightly. The hitboxes have been changed, because I've noticed that this boss is a lot more forgiving than it used to be. But it still doesn't solve the issue of this boss can be deceptively dangerous, so it can be. And as I says, we're still taking damage, and this is why we're sort of... This is why we went with the Summoner. It's to try and keep ourselves alive, is the best way to describe it, because early game, this just doesn't work, so it doesn't. And because we're on the road, we can't get any Summoner based traits until we get to Yesha. And unfortunately, Yesha might be the last one on my to-do list, depending on how Loathsome goes. Because now Loathsome has 3 tile stats, and I'm after a specific tile stat, so I am. So yeah, this is going to be fun. But this fight is sort of the demonstration to the pain that we're going to have going forward. So it is between ammunition, lack of damage, several different combinations of things, to be fairly honest. And as says, because the Summoner starts with the crossbow, we are literally just using one weapon for this. The crossbow is possibly the weakest single shot. Like, this is like, there's just so many things that goes into it. The crossbow is a single shot rifle, or long gun, as you know, but it is also the weakest of these single shot weapons, which obviously to me is going to be rather problematic. So it is. As says, we are still trying to maintain as much health as we can, because simply due to the fact that if you die, that's it, game over. I have PTSD from the road after all, because I think I lost about 6 characters during the road. I think it was my first ever try. I think it was just it was the elite that shoots the lasers spawned and just murked me, so it did. Just clean and absolute simple, absolute nightmare. So it is. And we get a rune. There's a key thing that I do need to bring up, is the rune fragments. Did we get any upgrades? No, we're just checking here, so we are, just to see if there was any potential upgrades. Gonna spend the skill point that we got our hands on. Then we're gonna pick up Boar. Oddly enough, I believe Boar is probably an exceptionally underrated mod. It sounds weird, but I believe it's underrated. And because the SMG is currently carrying the entirety of our early game, I'm probably going to stick to leveling up our SMG, considering it is exactly what we fucking need right now, so it is. But back onto the rune fragments. The rune fragments is sort of key, because they give you additional buffs that you really do want. Now, we picked up an item. Unfortunately, it's a dud. She needs shielding. I don't have shielding, so we don't. And then we nailed the Vault of the Formless. So, this I need to, right, so there were certain things that I did do and didn't do. Is that the reservation ring? That ring is why you do it, but we didn't do the event. So we didn't, and we picked up a couple of other things. That's where you get the Atom Smasher, but I wasn't risking the jump. Fuck that. I'm not risking jack shit. So I'm not. And then of course you automatically know where that trait point's going. That ring there, it gives us health regen. What is it called? Reserve boosting ring or gem, whatever the hell it is. But basically it adds to our health regen, and then it I think it near doubles or triples. There's my simulacrum shard. Doubles near triples whenever you hit 50% health. So it's a good boost to your health regen. And then we pick up the override pin. And then we got really unlucky and fucking had to deal with one of the new guys. So we did. Yeah, this was fun. This was the last thing I wanted to see whenever I was making my way through the run. So it was. But back to the particular reason for the override pin and why I really need to get lucky on most of them is so that we can trade the override pin in the Weaver's Webs for a absolutely diabolically good heart. And that is the entire reason why I wanted to start with the run. So it was, I think the Neurod's also the one, no, I'll be pretty familiar with, well, no, I'm not as familiar with Yesha, but I'm pretty familiar with Neurod and Losum, particularly because Losum has a shit ton of gear that you need to get your hands on. And this is where I start making fantastic use of the 4 mod. And this is what I mean, this is where I sort of hopped on that the 4 mod was actually a lot better than I actually thought it was the speed that I was able to put that guy down. Can't remember what fragment we got, so I don't think it was all that important. As it says, the main fragments that we're aiming for is armor, health, and damage reduction. So we, oddly enough, managed to get our hands on another area. And this was dumb luck. So it was this, getting this area sort of, it flipped the script a little bit because I didn't expect it to spawn, but this helps us drastically going forward as long as I don't get one shot by anything unnecessary. This becomes particularly useful because there's 2 things that we get here, and because we've already got the other half, so to speak, which I'll explain whenever it comes to it. As says that I'm going through this here as I've recorded it, so I am. But yeah, as says we're in here picking up gear and trait points. But the main thing that we're here for is a quest item as well as a trait, and it's the trait that I'm really sort of looking forward to because it should really boost once we get triage from the medic. So it should, and that exact trait point is going to be Siphoner, so it is. We also picked up an odd dud of our ring, which was disappointing, but it is what it is. But no, the main reason why we're here is for the Siphoner trait, which is absolutely fantastic because that gives us ranged lifesteal. Now you tell me that's not good. Plus the ranged lifesteal kind of saved me in a couple of scenarios, so it did, so trust me, it's good to have. So we got the key, and then we used said key to get another key, which is going to benefit us even more down the line. The amulet is what it is. It's not particularly great, but this key here is one piece of a very big puzzle that we're about to get done. Again, trait point. You automatically know where the trait point's going. It is no, it's going into bigger. So it is. I haven't started going into Siphoner just yet, but Siphoner will be a thing. Next major boss is the Spectrum Nexus, which is the something Custodian Guardian or something. I can't remember its name. Pop back because we're literally we are aiming for upgrades here, so we are going for anything that is absolutely defense related. I do not give a shit. It is defense, and we need lots of defense. I think this is the stage where we finally picked up our dull steel ring because again, defense. And then we picked up 2 pieces of the Lido set just to spend off our excess scrap. So of course we're going to get eggs. I think the Lido's armor is now the highest physically defensive gear, I believe. Get the dull steel ring equipped, and then I do think Lido's is the highest defense armor in the game now. So it is highest physical defense. Let me be very clear on that there. Physical defense. Get a couple of weapon upgrades, and then we are back to the Terminus Station. So we are obviously Terminus Station being the entire reason why we picked up the key. Now, what did we grab here? Oh, the deep pockets. It is what it is. It has its uses. Then we finally hit level 5, which gives us our flyers. Now, this is the entire reason why we got a summoner, is your flyers is able to deal, is actually going to be able to deal a great chunk of damage. The rings, nah, but we're here for the corrupted illuminate shards as well. We did get our hands on bottom feeder, which basically means the more ammo we burn through, the more damage we get. So bottom feeder is going to be at least a solid DPS increase for us at this stage. Saying that though, 4 again proves its point at how good it actually can be, and the crossbow displays why it needs to get chucked into the bin. So it does. That crossbow really needs a buff of some kind. Don't get me wrong, the long range damage, pretty damn solid, but it's just completely outclassed by other weapons that are just substantially better. Now, the mutator that we got there, which was the Time Weaver, was not really all that important. It is what it is at that stage. I don't think I've ever actually get around to using it because it's not particularly great. But yes, we're now officially on to the death train. We pick up the trait footwork, but that's not what our prize is. Our prize is inside the train, so it is. We get our hands on the Atom Smasher, that's not our prize. The key is our prize. Now, immediately you're going to wonder why I picked up said key. There is a fucking good reason. It means that we can get our hands on a decent fucking weapon. We pick up the mod for overshot, or the overload shots, but then it's this here that we're after. We get an amulet, but our key point is we get a new rifle, as well as a good chunk of experience, to be fair, and scrap. You see, it's scrap whenever you finish a quest. But no, we get the core, can't remember, it's something to do with weak spot damage, but we get the pulse rifle. The pulse rifle is the entire reason. Once I seen that we got the area that we get the siphoner perk, we went back to Terminus Station to make sure that we get our hands on the pulse rifle. The pulse rifle is just overall better than the crossbow, so it's just that there's just a straight upgrade in my opinion. It was that core, and now we hit the point of we completely rearrange our entire setup simply due to the fact that the SMG has carried us this far. So the SMG will now be able to have a break, and it will now be designated as our support weapon. As for our pulse rifle is now going to be our damage dealer, so it is. Which I am relatively happy with because it actually managed to do the job. Then, of course, we got the bottom feeder mod, or the mutator. We're going to upgrade that. So we are. Any damage is good damage. And we're back to the Spectrum Nexus. Yay! This boss was the first major display of how quickly you can, what's the phrase? Fuck around and find out. Your overconfidence will very, very likely get you killed in this boss fight in hardcore mode, because if you watch right here, I made a couple of very silly dodges and ended up losing a solid chunk of my health. By the end of this fight, I think I had 0 Dragon Hearts left, and there's whenever I realized, right, Siphoner is going to need to be a must for upgrades, because as of right now, there's nothing else, unless I go into adventure mode, there's nothing else that I can do right now. We are literally stuck in this rhythm, so we are. There is nothing we can do. We are stuck in this rhythm, so we are. So, Siphoner is going to be a must moving forward. Not just Siphoner, but our Vigor as well, obviously. I'm not going to be dropping Vigor for any reason. 4 shows its ability to be able to do damage regardless. As says, because it opens up that weak spot damage, it just helps. And then whenever you pair it with a pulse rifle, I think it has an additional 10% weak spot damage. So it's that beautiful little combo paired in heaven, if you know what I mean. So it is. But we do end up, you'll see how close this boss fight gets. So you will, as says, I think the last time I took on this boss fight, I was being the medic, and at that stage it was just a case of, well, I had hot shots at the time, so I spammed hot shots, and then I think we got the hatchery boss, Progenitor. That mod just does not work the way you need it to work. The boss needs to be physically on the ground for that mod to work. Anything else, you're basically screwed. And yeah, this is whenever I'm in full panic mode, as you can tell, because I'm purely relying on my health regen at the minute, and I'm panicking like fuck because I'm at half health. One wrong move and I go bye bye. So I really pushed pushed the distance on that one. So I did. It wasn't my nicest, but it did display that it's time for me to use Siphoner. And that was exactly what I did. Went back, we sold off a couple of odd pieces, so we had a little bit of extra scrap to pick up the rest of the Lido armor, or the Lido helmet at the very least. And then, again, because the pulse rifle is now our main weapon, we're going to upgrade it because we're up against Shahala next. And this is, I think this one here we actually get armor effectiveness, which I was just like happy fucking days. It's just more defense for me. Thank you very fucking much, because right now I'm in desperate need of it. I need to be able to mitigate the amount of shit that's going on. Because this boss just gives me PTSD. This boss, I think I was, what was it? I think I was really close. I think I was in my second world. It was the one time that I actually got past the labyrinth. So it was. No, it wasn't even. It was just any time I got to this cunt, he killed me. I think I beat him once, maybe twice. And then, no, after 2 hours, it takes me. I take my time as I do these. I don't speedrun it like a lot of our players do. This here is all edited down. This is 2 hours worth edited down, so it is. Because I'm always rotating, I'm always thinking, I'm always trying to figure out what can be my next major advantage here. But no, that attack there, the one where he drops the ball on top of you, yeah. It had been that long since I fought him that he just dropped the ball on top of a 3-hour character. 3 hours of my day gone to the wind simply because he fucking nuked me. And this boss also, see these green waves? Fuck these green waves. Other than that there, this boss really did sort of open up my eyes to the factor of I need stronger healing potential because of several, well, yeah, you'll see here, it's just these green orbs, what is this shit, lad? So I'm just hiding as much as I can, but trust me, this gets so much worse. This boss is PTSD for me, so it is simply just how it's basically just demonstrating here, dude, level up Siphoner because you're going to fucking need it. Anything less and you're going to find yourself in a whole lot of fucking pain. Surprisingly though, that my flyers did actually do a good job of actually keeping me alive and mitigating a good chunk of the damage I was taking. So I was quite happy with that. But without the traits to back it up, I'm still taking serious amounts of damage. So I am. These green orbs, fuck those green orbs as well. This boss just annoyed me, and the entire reason why I'm even here doing this here is simply due to the factor of I need the override pin. If I didn't need the override pin, I'd be telling this boss to suck one. So I would. But in the end of the pulse rifle managed to pull through with a combination of Siphoner, so it did. Siphoner is very definitely a good option, so it is. If I had more stuff to increase my healing effectiveness, then this would be good. Hence the entire reason I am going for the medic class. So I see just being able to mitigate that kind of damage with raw healing. Hence the reason we've already burnt through the two Mudtooth elixirs, so we're probably going to go for the root water. The one that gives you, I think, 0.75 health regen, which I will most certainly be being. It'll get got, so it will. I will be getting it. And then we also got this ring here, so it's the ring that gives you an additional 15 health. Considering there's nothing else that we can really use at this moment in time, it's more of a placeholder. Considering there's nothing that we can really use, that we're going to use it for the meantime, in combination with Lido's. Now, problem is, Lido's is way too fucking heavy, so it is. So I had to do a little bit of rearranging, but I wanted to keep the chest piece because it had the most defense, so downgrade the gauntlets. And then we also apply the ring for extra health. What does that bring my health actually up to here? So we've got 124 right now, 139. Okay, that's not bad. We don't have the health relic either, so that's kind of a thing. Pulse rifles getting upgraded immediately because that is our carry weapon right now until we get something that does something a little bit more. And then that ties us all up. Labyrinth's up next, guys. So, guys, I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy. And, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!